Welcome to the football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, sponsored by Indigo Communications. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff and Tam McManus are here with me on this Thursday because, of course, Hugh is gallivanting in Qatar with his son, which I think is something that you just savour to go with your son to the World Cup's brilliant, Ruffy, eh?
Yeah, I keep looking at the games. I don't know what games he's covering with his son, but I thought there might be a wee chance you'd get him on the telly, you know, when the thing were in. I meant to say the other day there when you was watching the Mexican game, did you see the boy with the one tooth? Did you see him? No. The Mexican hat and all that one. And he was cheering and that, and all he had was one tooth.
Yeah, absolutely. But
just appeals to my sense.
Absolutely. But
no, we haven't seen Hugh. I'm sure he's there.
His wife's happy with him. So
have you seen a goal yet if he's been at the games?
Yeah, well, he has, because he was at the Germany game.
Oh, is he?
So I think I think he's landed on his feet with that one. Hi to Stuart, Paul, Bob as well, and Daniel. Lots of people join us on the show on a regular basis. Thank you so much to so many of you who are hitting the subscribe button as well, because if you hit that subscribe button, you are on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. You'll get those updates. It's uncensored, unbiased and unmatched football news and banter, Ruffy, and it's free to watch.
Yeah, it's brilliant. The more and more people are out there, the more and more people saying they're watching us, which is fantastic. I don't know who was saying the other day, it was Tam McManus, was up in Dundee.
Yeah.
And he was saying there's a lot of guys up there at the dinner he was at were actually watching us every day.
Well, it's 5 days a week, and also if you realise it's not just about the football show, there's breaking football news, unique content, one-to-ones, and if you hit the subscribe button you get a chance to look back at some of our great archive material as well, and it gives me the perfect opportunity to tell you that we've got a special one-to-one tomorrow on the programme, because I sat down with Frank McGarvey, and from 4 o'clock you can join the football show and watch and listen to Frank take us through his career. It's really emotional, Ruffy, actually, Frank coming on the show, because he's now at that point where he's revealed to all that he's got cancer, and he's battling with that. He's got his loving family around him, and we were looking back over what is a truly amazing career. Yeah,
as we've had him on the show on numerous occasions over the years, and any time he's come on, he's been a bundle of fun. He's been great. And obviously he's a fighter, as you said there. He's going to fight it right until the end, which I think is great. I think everybody saw how emotional he was going back to Celtic Park that day before the game. So no, we all hope that he can keep going.
Yeah, and the other aspect of it, Tam, when you go across the whole of Scotland just highlighting all those misdemeanours you've had in your career, Frank, in total contrast, has won every domestic medal in Scottish football. He's won the First Division with St Mirren, he won the title with Celtic, the Scottish Cup, the League Cup, and then went back at the twilight of his career and won the Second Division with Clyde.
Yeah, listen, he's a fantastic career, obviously before my time, but his age is with my dad. My dad's played against him, grown up, said he was a fantastic player. So, no, listen, we all wish him well. We know he's battling away. He's got a great family behind him, and we hope, beyond hope, that he can beat this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the great thing about it is Frank has highlighted the fact that so many football fans, Celtic fans, Rangers, St Mirren, you name it, have all offered their support to him, and I think it means a lot to him. So it really is one of those interviews I think you will, even if you're a football fan of teams that Frank didn't play for, it's well worth tuning into. Here's a little flavour of what you might see on the day.
I knocked at the door the other day, and it was Tony Fitzpatrick came up to see me, and then David Provan came up, and then Charlie Nicholas came up.
Yeah.
We all laughed for about an hour, and I felt no pain.
Yeah.
So it just shows you don't need medicals, you don't need medicine. It can go away. The pain and all the problems with the cancer can go away. Get people up that you like and have a wee talk with them and all that. Have a laugh with them. That's great. Mentally, you've got to fight this illness as well. You've got to fight it mentally, and that's the way to do it.
Yeah, it was great, and it's good because the amount of people that have been rallying around him is unbelievable. People that played with him and against him.
Yeah, I think anybody that's came across Frank would have a story to tell. I mean, he's told us some fantastic stories when in here. And he actually held his hand up to say that any time he went to a club, he fell out with somebody. There was somebody who fell out with, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way it was. But he was so passionate about the game, and I'm sure, obviously, Celtic supporters will remember a lot of good nights that he gave them.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi to George McGee, who says, I've been watching the show every day on YouTube since day one. I've never posted a comment before, just wanted to say hello from sunny Drumchapel. George, we're absolutely delighted that you have stumped up the courage to actually give us your thoughts. It's great, because we love people, you know, it doesn't matter if it's Drumchapel, it could be Vietnam, Ruffy, they're from all over.
Yeah, they certainly are. Drumchapel's a big place for me in my youth. I used to stay in Knightswood, and we used to go up to Drumchapel. We used to play St Pius School on a Sunday, and you've probably done it as well, Peter. 22 a side.
Yes.
You know, and it was fantastic. Great. Drumchapel area brought a lot of big footballers, you know, to go professional.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Ruffy, about 22 a side, because when I was living in Edinburgh, Tam, you know, and obviously you'll know the name Bill McMurdo. Bill was a great lad. He loved, he was like so many of us, he loved playing football. Not the greatest footballer in the world, I have to admit, and Bill would admit that himself.
Good agent.
But a great agent. Good if you needed a good deal. But he phoned us up one day and he says, look, we've got a game in Uddingston, you know, I need you to come down and play. And I said, oh, great. He says, have you got any mates? And I said, oh, absolutely. I said, I've got one of my mates, a really good player. I said, we'll come down. So we had the kit with the boots in the bag, you know, and the towel. We had all there. So we heads down, and my mate said to us, well, this should be a good game. Bill knows lots of people. And I says, oh, absolutely. So he turns up at this pitch. No dressing rooms, nothing. It's 22 a side on a park with just boys that he'd met up round the corner where he grew up. And my mate looked at me as if it was a complete rocket. And I looked at Bill and I said, is it not even on? He says, no, you're on their side and you're on that side.
The big mixie.
It was like one of those big Charlie. You just run after that.
That's what you used to do. Even you're obviously older than me, but you used
is that
got a good bit. You used to play, it was 15, 16 a side, and you never, if you turned up late, you never get a game. You had to wait for somebody to go for dinner or their mum or dad to shout for them, then you could get in. So you had to be in early to get a game.
You brought a ball with you.
Yeah.
It was always a good wee side, but if you had a ball, a real nice one,
you were in. You were in, even if you were ranked rotten. Anyway, so but it's good. Listen, if you're a football lover, we don't mind getting pasted on the programme. We don't mind your opinion. As long as you're not abusive, you're fine. Don't forget also on the programme we've got the quiz as well. We like to start with a wee quiz question. It's a good one because our digital journalist Blair came up with this one. And which team scored most goals in a single World Cup match? Which team has scored the most goals in a single World Cup match? So there you are. You two get your thinking caps on, see if you can come up with the answer.
I've seen the answer on your screen, I can't say.
Did you? Don't say.
I won't say. Sorry.
I know you do. I obviously have a wee look here and there. Tam likes actually looking just to see what the abuse is like on the feed. It's always good for a noise up.
It's a shame, really, that's what they say about Ruffy.
Yeah.
He's over that side.
It's me and you, it's the big problem. Anyway, also running on this programme, you'll get an indication of two great competitions. The one that we do have at the moment, which I think is something you will enjoy, and you can join it at any stage. It's absolutely free to play. It's Fandex, and I'll let our man Adam tell you all about it.
Come and join PLZ Soccer on Fandex for our FIFA World Cup 2022 stock exchange game. It's absolutely free to play and you have the chance to win some great cash prizes. You can buy shares in your favourite team and watch their stock price increase or decrease based on their real life World Cup performances against the expected points tally set by Fandex. You can buy and sell as many teams as you like, as often as you like, with winners being announced after every round. The PLZ Soccer family are waiting for you on Fandex. Head to plzsoccer.com and click on Fandex World Cup 2022.
Yep, you can sign up. It doesn't matter what stage you join it at. There are still cash prizes at the end of each stage, and you can nip in there and put your money on some of the teams and see exactly how it is. In fact, when you join, you get I $1,000, fake dollars obviously, to take part, and you can pick out the teams, and the shares go up and down. If you can win you win cash prizes. If you've got Saudi Arabia right now, you're thinking, answer, do I sell now and cash in, Tam, or do I keep them and then maybe go for another big shot?
I think I'd be selling Saudi Arabia. I think that was their cup final against Argentina. It'd be interesting to see how they got on against the other two teams. I think they raised their game big time, and I think Argentina were miles off it. But that offside trap was a throwback to Tony Adams' Arsenal days, wasn't it? The Saudi Arabians, what a high line. But I think they had 4 goals chopped off in the first half, Argentina. They just couldn't beat that offside trap, and it was brave. And fair play to Saudi Arabia for winning it. But
I'm glad you mentioned that, Tam, because the best manager for organising a back four was Gers.
It was that Arsenal team they were all in sync. As soon as one put their hand up, offside. But Saudi Arabia, I thought they were very courageous the way they played, and it was a big result.
Okay, we'll give you details of how you can get involved again at the end of the show on Fandex. We'll give you the answer to the quiz. Well done to Hugh, who's absolutely all over it at the moment. Lots of you will be taking guesses on this one. Ronnie Chapman, afternoon. Peter, Ruffy and Tam, great to have you with us, Ronnie. And there's lots of guesses coming in on some of those big scores. So keep it coming on the quiz. And we'll talk about some of the main issues domestically and of course at the World Cup. Let's start domestically. It looks as if he's in the box seat, looks as if he'll be the next Rangers manager. Michael Beale, the majority I think will be happy he's coming home.
Yeah, I think so, but I think he's coming into the job. Although we've all spoke about he's lacking in really top class experience, I think he'll be given time, but like anybody else, not a lot of time. They're 9 points ahead already. If he comes in, he needs to come in and start turning things around. He needs to get the fans that you're talking about, aren't they convinced, on his side. And the only way he'll do that is if he wins games. Yeah,
well, he's got to come in there. And I think the general consensus from more than a few people is that he's coming into a fractured dressing room.
Yeah, I think that the way Rangers are playing, they looked as if they'd down tools under the previous manager. Some of the performances, even when they were winning games, Dundee at home in the cup, very poor performance. Livingston drew, lost to St Johnstone, drew with St Mirren. It was really, really poor performances and results. So he's got to get in there and galvanise that dressing room, get them going again. Maybe add a couple in January. But they've got some big games coming up. They've obviously got the semi-final against Aberdeen. They've got the Celtic game away at home, at the New Year. So he's got big games in there, and they've got to try and make inroads into that 9-point gap and try and get into the final of the League Cup.
Be interesting if he does get it, who he brings. I thought Gio went the wrong way in bringing all the Dutch pals over. I think if it's Beale, he's got to bring somebody who knows what Scottish football is all about.
Yeah, well, I think the general consensus is Kevin Thompson is going to be in the box seat for that. Whether that materialises or not, I don't know. The one thing I would say about this appointment that's imminent is I'm still of the opinion that he's too raw for the job. I think I've said it consistently over the past couple of weeks. I think Rangers, once Giovanni Van Bronckhorst was going out, needed someone in there who, yes, by all means it's a bonus if they understand the club, but I think it needs to be someone who's got a bit of a track record, can understand the enormities of a club that consumes you 24/7, and also you have to handle things at Rangers that are not normal with other clubs as well. You're one game away from a catastrophe. You've got to take on all sorts of hassle that sometimes you actually think this is not about football. And I think he'll be a wee bit wet behind the ears when it comes to a huge club like Rangers. Queen's Park Rangers is totally different from Rangers.
No, I get that, and I think he'll get it as well. He'll have a wee idea about it. When he was there with Gerrard, he'd seen what he had to went through, and some of that might just rub off on him, a wee bit of experience. But you're right, he's never ever done it, and the size of Club Rangers there's going to be a lot of questions that he has to answer.
Yeah, and his pedigree is going to be tested to the full, to be perfectly honest with you, because quite simply, you're looking at a club that, when they stopped Celtic winning 10 in a row, Steven Gerrard was the manager. He walked in there, he would be the man who's the last word is Steven Gerrard. He picked the side. His assistant was Gary McAllister. And this whole, narrative that's gathered pace about all the work in the background was Michael Beale. It's going to be an interesting one, by the way. This is when it's call my bluff time.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of legend about Michael Beale, about his training, his coaching, capabilities. I think he's been all over the world. He started off, down south in England. He went to Brazil and coached for a while in Sao Paulo. He went to Rangers. So I think that his pedigree and his coaching capabilities are no question. But you're right, it's different between being a number 2 or a number 3, even first team coach, than being front and centre. The man. You've got to pick the right team. You've got to get results. It's your head's in the block. I think there's much less pressure going in, taking training sessions every day. So he's got to come in, if he does come in, and he's got to stamp his authority on that team. The good thing is he'll know a lot of the players that are there. I think he'll obviously be keeping a keen eye on Rangers. He'll know which players he wants to keep and which players he wants to get out. But I think his backroom staff will be. I think that will be crucial. If he comes in, who he brings in. Because I do agree with Ruffy. I think Van Bronckhorst bringing all the Dutch boys in. I think you could have been doing with maybe an ex-Rangers player, a Barry Ferguson, a Neil McCann, somebody like that, who knew the club and who knew the intricacies of it. So we'll need to wait and see who he brings in. But I think that Beale is definitely the man that Rangers want.
Yeah, here's Michael Beale's form at Queen's Park Rangers at the moment. 22 matches, he's won 9. Drawn 4, lost 9, goals for 27, goals against 25. They were top of the table in October. They're now 7th and out of the playoff places at the moment.
It's not a great record, is it? We thought, he obviously started the season very well, but it's not a great record.
Not only that, by the way, one thing that I always remember about Ali McCoist when he was in, and Ali McCoist had a certain skill set. He would be the first to admit he wouldn't be the tactical genius of the coach. Kenny McDowell was really the coaching aspect of it. Walter highlighted to me that, Ali was one of those people that could inspire people. That was him. He was a man manager, a one-to-one. It was like, the collective, get them out there, fighting for the jersey, understanding what it was to play for Rangers. But Ali, in his managerial tenure, just basically came into a war zone. And every press conference I remember going in, I felt so sorry for him because he never answered a question on his team or the games. It was always on the madness that was going on behind him when Rangers were imploding. Now you have a man coming in, and it's not to the same extent as Ali had to deal with, but he's certainly having to deal with a board that's split, a lot of angry fans who are not happy with the way the board's going, certainly not happy with a lack of communication, transparency and money.
Yeah, but the only thing that sorts that out is winning games. We've spoke about it on numerous occasions. If you're winning games, and you're doing the right thing, these things sort of take a wee back bit, and people stop talking about them. And the ideal game coming up is the Celtic game. You've got Celtic at Ibrox, and I'm sure if he was to get in that game, if he was to win it, these things will take the back burner because that's all the supporters will be talking about. They've got a new manager in and they've beat Celtic. That's a start.
Yeah. I mean,
he's got to beat them, obviously.
He's got to beat them, but I think even before he gets
to win the rest of the games before that.
Well, I was going to say to you, it's not a given at the moment because he walks into a club and he's thinking to himself, right, okay, the first thing he'll be thinking in his head is, I want the team to play the way I want them to play. So if it's something that's based on a high press,
I think it will be high intensity, high press.
Right, so it's a high press, high intensity. They're midway through the season and you're looking at some of the players who are capable of it and some who are not. And then you're automatically saying to yourself, okay, they're not playing well, how can I get every ounce out of them? And it's like, Tam, if you come in and you're changing the mindset of the way they're playing under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, they're not a real high press team.
No, they aren't. I think it was totally different tactics from Van Bronckhorst than it was from Gerrard. I think Gerrard was, wanted to go and get after teams, particularly at home. Go and press teams and get the ball back, win it high up the pitch. And in Europe, away from home as well, they were expansive. They went and attacked teams. I think under Gio, they were a little bit more pragmatic. They sat a little bit more defensively. There didn't seem to be a clear plan, a clear tactical plan from Gio Van Bronckhorst at Rangers. So I think that Beale will come in, and I think you're right. You want to put his own stamp on it. You want to get high pressure, high intensity. And win the ball high up the pitch, but has he got the players, the personnel to do that, play that way immediately? I don't know. I'm not so sure.
I'll tell you right now, my answer is no. And I think he's also got the major problem, which is quite simply, he has to work out how to get the best out of players who haven't really stepped up for Rangers.
Yeah.
And he also has to work out, am I going to let him go? Am I going to sell him, the number 9? And am I going to sell him Kent out in the left wing? And if I am, who am I going to get in that's of a standard at Rangers that can take it on? And of course the big $64,000 question is, how much money am I getting?
Yeah, I think that's going to be key. I think he's got to be backed heavily in the transfer market. If he wants to overturn Celtic this season, then they've got to go and spend money in January. I don't know if Rangers have got that kind of money to go and challenge Celtic. A lot going on off the pitch. With Hummel and different things. So he's got to. I think the first thing he'll ask when he's approached, and he has been approached, will be, how much have I got to spend? Who can I bring in? Kent Morelos is obviously a situation as well where he's got to decide where he wants to cash in on them. Sell them, or he wants to keep them to the end of the season. I think you obviously want to keep Kent more than you would Morelos. I think Morelos his mind's elsewhere. I think he wants to leave, and I think Kent's the one. His numbers have not been great, but he certainly he tries hard every game. He looks as if he's still at it, and even if his numbers are not there, so I think you would want to keep maybe Kent more than Morelos at this point.
Yeah, I try hard every game, Tam, but it doesn't quite work.
It's called luck.
He's no down tools ranking.
Endeavour 9. Hey, calm your J's. I'm not having lack of skill, boy. But nevertheless, movement. I can do. I'm happy with movement. Can I tell you something, Tam? As it goes on truth, Bonzo here. We're playing in a game in Cumbernauld. He says, "I'll come and watch," and he gets in his car.
Charity game.
Right. So he comes in his car and he comes down. Comes down.
He's late.
Right, so he's late.
Not like you.
So he saunters round to the side of the park. The ball comes right out of the air. I hit it in a half volley into the roof of the net. Tell him what you did.
I left. Didn't want to. No, I was going to kid on, but somebody spotted me. So.
I didn't even see the second one, Tam. Should have stayed for it. Anyway, yep. Listen, got to sort out all those problems. What do you think? Is it a situation where you think if he can get the victories that he requires right up until that game on January the 2nd?
Who have they got before Celtic?
Well, I'm just looking. Hibs, Aberdeen, Ross County away, Motherwell at home, and then Celtic. So Hibs at home, Aberdeen away on the 20th of December.
When's the semi-final?
And the semi-final is it's a bit away. I think it's late January. So
it is January.
You're looking. You're saying to yourself, that's a tough run.
No, it is. I think that historically Hibs, always up their game against Rangers. That'll be a tough game. Aberdeen away again is a tough fixture, and then Ross County away. So these are the games that Rangers have been dropping points recently. So he's got to win. Was it 4 games before 3 or 4 games before they play Celtic to give themselves an opportunity to narrow that gap to 6 points?
Yeah, okay. You can give us your thoughts on that. Michael Beale, is he the answer, or do you have your reservations about it? We've got lots to talk about with regards to the World Cup as well, and as I mentioned to you earlier, we've got some fantastic competitions and we've got some belters coming up that I think you really will be interested in. So with that in mind, how would you like to get involved in this latest competition we've also got with Greaves and our friends at Copa? I'll let Kerry tell you.
PLZ Soccer has teamed up with our friends at Greaves Sports and Copa to offer you the fabulous chance to win one of these World Cup retro shirts if you enter our World Cup hat-trick competition. All you have to do is tell us who you think will win the World Cup, finish top goal scorer and who will be declared player of the tournament. The person who gets all 3 correct will go into a draw to win one of 6 vouchers to choose their very own retro World Cup shirt from the Greaves Sports website. And if you don't get all 3 correct, then don't worry. You can still subscribe to our YouTube channel for a chance to win. To enter, simply submit your answers in the feed below, and if you want to double your chances of winning, then make sure you subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. The winner will be announced on the day of the World Cup final. Good luck.
Yeah, brilliant. What about that retro shirt there, Ruffy, that I got Kerry to put on for the old promo?
Yeah, I'm sure everybody will have their idea of which one they want. They've obviously looked through, and there's some really, really quality ones. I still like the Argentina one. Yeah, I think that's good value. It
is a belter, but that one there, did you remember what that shirt was? That was actually year 82.
Yeah, 82.
Yeah,
in Spain. Yep, I think that was. The one that we used against Brazil, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, it was.
Still got your jersey that you played against Brazil?
I have got that one. I haven't got that. I've got the yellow one. Yeah.
It's framed.
No,
That
I
one's
haven't.
framed.
I said that to you. We got a yellow one and a blue one.
You wore
and
the
I
blue
played
one?
The blue one, so I have to try and get that blue one back again.
Where is it?
I don't know. I've got the yellow one.
You're beginning to do my head in, by the way.
I've got the yellow one.
Flogged it.
The yellow
Honestly.
one's in a frame. No,
Well-
the yellow one's up there, and I've got the 78 Kubius one. I've got
That's
the
right.
82
Yeah.
and 86. I was.
The Kubius one was great. Well, you would have seen the Kubius one on
I've seen it
the
in your
way
house.
to the back room
it's in your house.
at your party. So
And they wouldn't have seen it in the background because the lights were it.
can I just say something to you, Ruffy, as we digress and Tam shuffles in the couch? Can I just say something to you? I mean, the one thing, a lot of people, I know you're a housewife's favourite on the programme, a lot of older women who watch the programme like you and older men. But can I just say, he does have a soft side to him, as you well know, Tam. And for my birthday one year, he gave me the top that he wore for Scotland in the Maracanã against Brazil when Ruffy played out of his skin. Ken Douglas said to him, if it wasn't for you, we'd have been absolutely hammered. And there's a cracking photograph of the whole 11 of them all there, and he's got the red top on, he's got the number 1 in the back, and it's perforated as well, Ruffy.
Yeah, it was old school.
Yeah.
Old school stuff. Yeah.
It's a belter, by the way. It's one of my treasured possessions, Tam.
Signed it for him. Signed it.
Well, you can't really sign the perforations on it, Ruffy, can you?
No.
You could sign the number 1 bit at the back.
Yes.
In fact, the way Tam's going at the moment, desperate to take your place, I might just get you to sign that. I might just get you to sign the number on it. No, it's an absolute belter. And the reason why I mentioned that, Ruffy, because obviously it's not that you don't offer an opinion. I think it's just because of, your stature among so many people in Scotland, playing in 3 World Cups, some of those great saves that you made. I mean, there's a lot of younger people who watch the programme and think, who the hell is he? What is he? What has he done? But if they look you up on YouTube, there are some fantastic saves, a great career, and it's 71 tomorrow, Ruffy.
It's 71 tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah.
But 71's quite significant for me, as you would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the year we won the League Cup.
Yeah.
So,
Did you win the League Cup?
71, yeah.
Wow, that was yeah. And to be fair, if VAR had been in operation, it could have been a draw.
If the younger viewers go into Google or YouTube, you can Google it and see the greatest 2 saves.
In the game.
No, ever.
Yeah, yeah. Toshak.
It's usually top 10.
Toshak's one of them, isn't he? Toshak's one.
Toshak, yeah.
Toshak's
Yeah,
your best. Is that
it's-
your best save ever?
No.
No?
Not at all.
Most important.
Most important.
Most important.
Crucial.
Is there another one that ranks up alongside that?
I'm told I had a fantastic save against Clydebank once.
Right.
I saved the shot. It was an near post. I saved the shot onto the bar, and it came down to the far side, and the boy came in with a header, and I don't know, but seemingly I got up and
You got it.
got across. I'm
Yeah.
just taking the guy's word for it. Because when they told me, I went, really?
I got up. Yeah, but the reason I mentioned that, Ruffy, is because we thought we'd get a wee collection of, memories for you. 71, and there's some belter pictures in here. What about that, Ruffy?
You know what your favourite picture is there?
Yeah, you and Asa Hartford, eh?
Yes.
Was that
yes.
four? Was that
another one.
4 Tenants Lager Girls?
Yes, I think it was, yeah. It
Yeah.
was a promotion it was on, and
Yeah.
it's,
What for 4 Tenants Lager Girls?
and they asked, it was a squad, and I remember somebody saying we need 2 players to get And I think me and Asa hands up first before
anybody else. We could have actually put in more than a few other ones as well. But thanks to Gregor, he says Ruffy was a fine goalie, not in the same class as Bobby Clark, but a fine goalie nonetheless, because obviously Gregor's an Aberdeen fan.
Yeah.
Bobby Clark was a good goalkeeper.
I took over for Bobby Clark.
Did you?
Clark, yes. Bobby was I think it was the second. I think Bobby played in goal against Belgium up in Aberdeen, and Aberdeen was my first squad participation, and I think Bobby played in that game. We beat Belgium 2-0.
Yeah. Yep, so 71. Happy birthday when it comes tomorrow.
Thank you.
Rafi, I think it'll be a good day. What, are you doing anything special?
I'll probably go out for a meal at some stage. And
with the wife?
A couple of sherbets,
Yeah, okay. Just thought I'd clarify that.
Tam's wife hasn't got back to it.
give it time.
Look at the message.
Exactly. Ruffy, you need help. Okay, so from a birthday wish to Ruffy, and thanks to so many people who have wished him a happy birthday. World Cup. There was a week. I love it. Now, listen. There, but for the grace of God. The amount of pundits who said before the Spain-Costa Rica game, Spain are in trouble, they haven't got an out number 9. they're not going to score goals. We've all done it before. I kid you not. Commentary, Ruffy, what do you make of this Mim team? And he says, they need to get John Sutton off, he's rank rotten. Cross, Sutton, goal. It happens. And Spain just ran riot.
They did. I thought Costa Rica were dreadful. I thought they were really poor. I mean, I think it's the first time ever that any team has not a shot in goal in a World Cup game, and that was on or off target. They just turned up my lambs to the slaughter. Spain played some great football, as they do, but they've got tougher tests ahead. I think they play Germany in the next game on Sunday, and that's a must-win for the Germans. So I think that's going to be the game that I'm looking forward to most over the weekend, is Spain-Germany, because the Germans need to win that.
We always want to see a good World Cup, and sometimes it can start off slowly. It's not just about Qatar, because I've witnessed some, first round matches in previous World Cups, Ruffy, where it's dire. People just starting to find their way. We've had more than a few 0-0s, and Germany have been sucker punched by Japan, and suddenly they could be yet again off the back of what happened in Russia, heading home.
Yeah, and I think the last time that happened, the whole rejig of their whole academy philosophy of how they were playing and everything, they just ripped everything up. I think Holland did it as well at some stage as well. So, but no, they'll be hanging on in there, and you're always on the back foot if you lose that first game. Particularly if you get Spain coming up next. Usually you get maybe the one of the smaller clubs coming up, but it's all up against them now. I don't think they were that bad. I just thought the 2 goals they lost were poor. I think they've got players in there that could give Spain a game. Yeah, well, the only problem I have with Costa Rica is they were rank rotten. I mean, some of their defending was absolutely comical.
Yeah, they were really, really poor. I mean, I looked at their team before the kick-off, and I think they had 5 or 6 playing their club football in Costa Rica. When you come up against teams like that, you need to have teams playing with big European clubs, and they were poor. I don't see them getting a point. I think that the other teams will beat them as well, but Germany need to win, because if it comes to, I think Japan will beat them in the next game, Costa Rica, and then it might be a carve up in the end. But Japan play Spain in the last game, so and both need a point. I think Germany need to beat Spain.
The strange thing about it though is you can have a rank rotten first game and go on and win the tournament, Ruffy. It has happened before. Yeah, it has. I mean, things happen in the first game, that if you're not up to speed, sometimes you can get fun out, and I think Japan did that to Germany. But I think most of the teams have all got quality players, and you wouldn't expect them, Argentina, to put another shift in like that. You would hope they would respond, and we'll have to wait and see if they can do it. Yeah, the one game that I thoroughly enjoyed watching, I mean, some of them are turgid, and you can tell right away in some of these games that it's just not going to spark into life, but I thoroughly enjoyed Canada against Belgium. I thought Belgium were poor. I think their golden generation, that light has shone and flickered out, failing on so many occasions. But boy, Canada were great to watch, Tam. Canada were great. I've seen a lot of Canada. I watched a lot of the CONCACAF games, USA, Mexico. They topped that group for the first time in about 30 years, and
they were outstanding. They've got so much energy and pace and power in their team, and they play to their strengths. They went after, it was very brave, they went after Belgium last night, and Belgium looked like a team of old men. They did, even for 45 minutes, until I think that Belgium just scored just before half time, you know, a through ball, and they get punished. But I think if Canada had a wee bit more quality in the final third, and they've just settled down a little bit, I think there's a lot of excitement within the team. If they just get a little bit more composure, they play Croatia the next game, again an ageing team, I think they'll go the same tactics, they'll get after them, and they'll high press them, but they've got to have more quality in the final third, or they're going to go out, sadly.
You touched on it, a lot of the teams, the players now are playing abroad. I know a lot of the Americans are playing abroad. Are the Canadians, are they?
Well, the Canadians
are playing
the Canadians
abroad?
have got the lad David up front, who plays for Lille, who has been linked, he's only 22, he's getting linked to Arsenal and Newcastle for 40-50 million. He was poor last night.
But Buchanan and Hoylett were good.
Excellent. Richie Laria, who played wide, was superb as well. The Estequiel, who plays for Porto in the middle of the pitch, and you've got Alphonso Davies, Bayern Munich. They've got a lot. I think Kyle Larin, who come on, is playing in Turkey, so they've got a lot of players playing in top teams, Canada. But it's just the final third that sadly they were lacking, because they didn't deserve to lose the game.
Yeah, I'd love to see David Wotherspoon playing in one of the games. That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
It would be, just for a guy who has worked hard in his career. He's at St Johnstone, not a massive club in European terms. For him to get on, we've seen Jason Cummins do it. We've seen a lot of players in the Premiership playing. So I think for Wotherspoon, even to get on for a minute would be the highlight of his career.
What Canadian player was it when we came over here in Scotland, played Canada at Easter Road, and he scored against us? He was a Scottish, played his games in Scotland, and he came over here and they beat us. I think they beat us 1-0 at Easter Road.
Yeah.
About a year or two ago.
Yeah, what was his name?
A year or two ago?
No,
what was his
I'm
name?
looking at Tam, I'm not looking at you. Somebody will tell us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody will tell
Scotland
us.
played.
Boy, played up front for St Johnstone.
It could have been something like that, or Hibs, we'll get that, somebody will tell us. But in saying that, the one thing, I was always amazed, it shows you how some players in their careers can, he's flourished really, and I think St Johnstone really suited him. But I was amazed Hibs let Wotherspoon go. I think he's a tremendously skillful player. It's difficult sometimes when people don't watch, when they're into their own club, and sometimes, especially in the west of Scotland, they're dominated by Celtic and Rangers. But I always liked watching David Wotherspoon as a player. He's had a few injuries, but nevertheless,
he's got great ability. I think he can go either side. He's got a wee chop. He can get a yard. I think he done it in the cup final against Hibs. I think it was Josh Doig maybe, or somebody, one of the right back, who he gave a chop to and put it to the back post. And I think Rooney came in and scored a header. But unfortunately for him, he was in a Hibs team that were really poor at the time, running about Terry Butcher era, Pat Fenlon. I think that was his era at Hibs, and they were really, really struggling, so it was hard to kind of nail down a spot in the team.
Yeah, and as ever with these situations, Ruffy, as soon as you actually see a team playing well, the next day, half their players are linked with joining Celtic or Rangers or someone else. 2 and 2 makes 5 in the newspapers, Ruffy. It's good copy.
Yeah, it certainly is, but I mean, we said that before the whole tournament actually started. Clubs will be looking at young players playing with, countries that are probably not getting very, very well paid the way they did in England and Germany and all that. So if you can identify somebody who comes into that category and obviously is a good World Cup, then why not? Yeah.
There's a game that I think we're all going to be looking forward to. One of those days when you realise that you've been invited to a party and you're thinking, oh no, it's right in the middle of USA England. That's what I'm facing, Tam.
Are you at a gig? You get something
just on? Invited to a family party.
Right. No, I think that's obviously tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. I think you'd have to fancy England. I think USA showed against Wales that they've got, again, a lot, USA, Canada, a lot of pace, power, athletic players, and that's a modern day game now. I think they'll cause England problems, but I just think England have got too much quality in the final third for the USA, and I think they'll win.
Yeah, well, Harry Kane's fit, which is the huge bonus for them. He's the one top drawer. I mean, they've got lots of really good players. Let's not kid ourselves on, Ruffy, but I think Kane's a level above everybody else in that squad.
Yeah, he is, and it's actually amazing that first game we were all talking about, is he going to be the first goal scorer, is he going to be this? He never really did it, and everybody else did it.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody spoke about him, nobody, they didn't need him, if you know what I mean.
No, I get where you're coming from.
They had so many other stars on the day, but he will come good, he will get goals.
I mentioned to you yesterday, Ruffy, and I wonder if anybody else is going to pick up on it, but I wonder, am I being too harsh on England on the fact that I said they'll never win the World Cup with John Stones and Harry Maguire in the back line? I just don't think they're good enough.
No, there was evidence the other night there that they were slacking bits, that they're not top centre-halves. I think the reason the two of them are playing with each other is because they know each other and they have played with each other, so the strengths are there. But I think I would like to see what they're going to be like when they get tested, when they have a team who are going to come and have a go at them, and see how they go on then.
And as ever, Jordan Pickford was speaking about Harry Maguire and really rallying to his defence.
Yeah, of course, I think he needs to be respected a lot more. But part of a footballer, you're going to get criticised. Everyone gets criticised in football, and but Harry's mentally strong, takes it really well. But yeah, I think it's a bit unfair. But his performances on the pitch show how good of a player he is and why he's got so many caps for England and captain of Man United.
Well, that's just teammates talking for me. I've got to be blunt about it.
I think he's a decent player. I think he takes a lot of criticism. Unfortunately for him, again, he's playing a team that's struggling, Man United. But you know, you don't get to that level, play for England and captain Man United if you're not a good player. And he's made mistakes. Unfortunately for England, he's made mistakes. But I hope for his sake. I see a lot of stuff on social media from people who's probably never kicked a ball, slaughtering them. So I hope he does. I hope he's a good World Cup, Harry Maguire. I hope he don't win it. I'd rather somebody else win it. But I hope he is a good World Cup, because I think it takes a lot of unnecessary stick, personal stick as well. Well, personal's a different matter. I think that's unfair. We always mention, Ruffy, that we well, you get opinion on here. You certainly don't get abusive opinion from pundits and, of course, from players who we have on the programme. I don't think there's anybody's abusive. You sometimes get it in the feed, but as so many of our loyal viewers and subscribers love to hear me say, this is not the show for you if you want to be abusive towards people. There is a line that we draw, Ruffy, and we've done it for 10 years. Yeah. December the 12th is our anniversary.
Yes.
10 years together. And we started with it, Ruffy, and we'll probably end with it as well. Just that level of decency. We don't mind getting caned ourselves, but when people are abusive, and I think Tam's right, there's a lot of people who've been very abusive towards Harry Maguire. I'm calling it from a level of, are they going to win the World Cup with Harry Maguire at the level he's performing at the moment? And I say no.
No, that's all we're talking about on the football side. He hasn't had a good season. Obviously Tam's touched on it. He hasn't been in a good side. That's got a lot to do with it. Added pressure on you to come up with the goods, but he hasn't played that many games, obviously with the manager picking somebody else, but he's a threat in the other box. You can see it, corners and that, he's a threat. He likes to puts himself a bit in there, and that might be his main asset for England in this cup.
Yeah, I don't want to get into a full-scale argument with Tam on this, but I think Ian Docherty's right. Never kicked a ball. What a ridiculous statement, Tam, because quite simply, there are many people who judge whether it's a beautiful painting or not, whether he's a great dancer or not, whether he's a great singer. I mean, people can give their observation of him as a player, regardless of whether they've kicked a ball or not, but when they're abusive personally, I think that's the line.
Correct. I don't mean that in that way. I mean, if you're being disrespectful to somebody and you're saying he's absolutely hopeless and rubbish. Yeah. I don't think he's hopeless or rubbish, but you get a lot of people like that who personally giving them abuse, and as I said, people that can't do 5 keep-ups. So if that's the level you're going to,
5.
You do 5.
Well, to be fair,
it just annoys me that these people are giving them personal abuse, saying he's absolutely rubbish.
I think you make a good point there, Tam. But
if you're respectable about it, you think I don't rate him. Fine, fair enough.
That goes back to the World Cup in 1990, and basically myself, Davy Moyes, and his brother, and one of my mates, we all travelled down to the south of France, and then we made our way up to Genoa for the opening game, Scotland against Costa Rica. And we had a lovely flat that we'd booked, Tam. We'd booked the flat, and we all had a right good bevy, as you do. You're on World Cup duty, you've got to have a few bevies with your pals. It's the summer, so we've had a scoop, and the game was, we play keepy-uppy, and the one who gets the least has to carry all the bags up to the top floor flat. Now, 5's a lot, Tam, when you're heavy. When you're steaming.
I'm talking when you're sober.
5's a lot, Ruffy, especially if you can't see the ball in the sunlight.
Yeah,
you know.
I can imagine it'd be one kick and then chasing
Oh,
it.
Ruffy, could I get to that second ball? Those cases were heavy. So, I'm just saying, calm your jets, Tam. 5. What's your record, by the way?
Oh, I could keep it up all day.
Is that right? Yeah.
Can I tell a keep you up story?
Absolutely, you can,
Keep you up
Ruffy.
story. I was down in Sauchiehall Street. It was a Saturday, around about 1 o'clock, and I was just shopping, you know. But the Celtic game was on, and all the Celtic supporters were walking towards Parkhead through Sauchiehall Street, and right out in the precinct was a boy doing keep you up. I mean, the real guy who's bouncing off his shoulder, flicking it up and down. And he was fantastic. He was wonderful. And this elderly Celtic supporter, his Tam in his scarf, was just looking at him, and he went to the boy, "It's goals that count, son."
rather than flicks and everything. I mean, there are lots of players down through history who have been really great at skills. I mean, everybody talks about Maradona and that warm up that he did. But of the one player that I looked at and I loved watching him play, and he could do flicks and, you know, on his shoulder, on his back, on any part of his body, but he could score goals. Ronaldinho.
Yeah. Yep. As I said, it's just a skill, but if you can, you know, incorporate it into the game and it's
End product.
and it's something that, you know, leads to a goal or something.
Seen him in the World Cup advert?
Yeah. Oh, he's fantastic. Yeah. I liked him. I liked him. You know, how can you not like a guy, Ruffy, who likes a right good night out at a nightclub and can score wonder goals in Madrid? He would have been a great Scotland player, wouldn't he?
Oh, fantastic. He'd have fit it in well. See, before we move to the World Cup, an observation. For the first time ever in a game this morning, the Cameroon game, what am I going to say?
The first time ever, the Cameroon...
First time ever I have seen a goalkeeper playing centre-half.
I don't follow
He
you.
played centre-half. If you saw the game, he played centre-half.
Yeah, come out.
He was the one that was pinging balls all over the place. The centre-halves were actually giving him the ball.
So he could ping it.
Yeah. I've never seen any of that in my life before.
Yeah, I think the one guy I've seen who was really good at that as a goalkeeper was, I think, forgive me, Tam, if I pronounced his name wrong, but Chilavert, the goalkeeper.
Paraguayan.
He could take the free kicks as well.
A lot of goals. Probably scored more goals in his career than me.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be too difficult, by the way, if we're talking about keepy uppies. Let's go to domestic for a couple of things that I want to get your thoughts on, guys. Bojan Miovski says he's going to stay at Aberdeen till the end of the season. Now, for me, that's absolutely fantastic. He's got 11 goals in 15 games in the Premiership. He's been linked with everybody in their granny because of him scoring goals. He's bagged a few penalties, Robbie, but yeah, I think that's great news for Aberdeen.
Oh, it's great news. It would be interesting if Aberdeen were tested by any kind of money. You know, I don't know what the money would be. You know, we've not got Charlie here to sort of appraise him. So,
yeah,
so
we miss Charlie, don't we?
So
see the amount of people that went absolutely tonto when they saw him in a car on the programme the other day. It was unbelievable.
So, you know, that's good for Aberdeen, you know, and they'll be hoping that there isn't any coming in, that they have to decide whether they're letting them go at the end of the season or not. But no, that's good. Good for players to come out and tell them that.
Yeah, here's Marlon who says, do you remember the guy George Campos? He did it as well. He was a really good,
Nice.
And do you know what I remember about
fluorescent goalkeeper?
He used to wear med-tip goalkeeper.
It was an XXXXL.
Yeah.
It was massive.
He liked a bit of room in his...
He was up in the halfway
George
line,
Campos.
wasn't he, taking people?
Yeah. Did you see the photograph the other day that Ruffy, I was going to tell you about it, and I thought to myself, wow, puts you to shame, and I think you're sporty and fit. Do you see John Burridge in goal at 70?
70, yeah.
Still going well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing well. I mean, he always was a fitness.
You could play goal, Ruffy, right now, but the problem is just your hand, that's it.
I get gloves on, though.
Yeah, but other than that, you would have played in goal easily.
Yeah, I'd have loved that.
At 70?
Great, yeah.
Yeah.
71 it would have been.
Economy of movement.
Didn't come for crosses anyway, did he?
even at his peak.
Who did Griffiths score the goal?
Burridge.
The halfway line, was it? Chipped him. No, I'm not playing in any game. No having that.
Brilliant. Dundee United have announced a profit, £279,770. for the year ending June 2022, and that's a £2.8 million swing, Tam. So we're talking about that huge wage bill. Fair play to them, they've made a profit.
Brilliant, great. I mean, I think the Dundee United, the owners obviously putting a lot of money, and it's good to see that they're getting a profit. This season they've got to stay in the league. I seen something in the paper the day, he was talking about maybe backing the manager to get into the top 6. They need if they finish 11th, they'll be doing well. Dundee United, if they finish 11th in the league,
does
they'll
that
do
£2
well.
million they got off the government account?
Ruffy, will you let it go?
Never let that go, that government hand it.
£2 million.
This'll get
150,000.
Well, that's it. It's relevant to where you are in the league. By the way, just out of curiosity, what about your boys? You know, now it's. I might as well ask you, because it's the second last thing I'm going to talk about on the programme. Saturday, a lot of fans going to be walking out. There's a big protest.
Yes, everybody's got the right. It's democratic. If that's what they want to do, then let them do it.
Are you disappointed?
You said to me,
I'm
what
disappointed.
did you say to me? Hope it rains. You said to me before the show, I hope it rains on them.
You're making that up.
No, if they want to play, but I just feel we should be getting right behind the team. It's a crucial part for the team, and if you've got fans outside, you know, protesting while the game's going on, it just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't. Listen, I agree. I think if fans want to complain about certain things they're unhappy with the club or the board, or is in this case the distribution of the shares, fine and dandy. The manager, I think, it won't affect him or the players. They'll just get on with it.
No, of course they will. You know, that's what happens when you walk over that white line. All you're interested in is winning the game for your team.
Yeah. And can you win this weekend?
I think it'll be difficult. Kelty have got a few ex-Thistle boys in the team, 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah.
So they'll be wanting to put us to the sword, I would think. But we're at home, so got 3 players back last week. So another 2 this week would be great.
It was a good win for him last week. Saved his bacon. I thought he would be under real pressure, but to get knocked out by Kelty, is that all right? Is that okay?
That'd be a sore one to take.
yeah, absolutely, Ruffy, it would. Okay, can I just point out something I should have mentioned yesterday, and it was remiss of me. I did have it in the script, but completely forgot to highlight it right at the end of the programme. Basically because obviously with my association and love of watching Liverpool in the 70s, you know, whether it be Kevin Keegan or indeed Kenny Dalglish, but I always liked watching David Johnson, and he sadly passed away yesterday at the age of 71, Ruffy. He was a great player up front. I know Frank McGarvey liked David Johnson. They played in the reserves at Liverpool as well.
Is that like the Australian guy?
No, that's Craig Johnson.
Craig Johnson.
Yeah, David Johnson had 2 spells with Everton, but in the 6 years at Anfield, Ruffy, when we wait for this, 4 league titles, 2 league cups, 3 European cups, and a UEFA Super Cup. And, you know, I think a lot of the Liverpool players that played in his era were quite sad to hear the news.
Yeah, I'm sure they would be. That was an incredible side of that era. He obviously wasn't one of the big superstars in the team, but he was an integral part of the team, you know, whether it was coming off the bench or playing in the team, you know, and highly respected by all the players of that era.
Yeah, got England caps as well, but for Liverpool, certainly, when you have that array of medals in your bank, the family will be looking with tremendous pride at what he achieved, and sad to see him go.
Yeah, listen, I think when you've got that kind of rule of honour in terms of your medals, I think you'll never be forgotten with the Liverpool supporters. Played in a very successful team, you know, in a great era for Liverpool. So no, it's sore news for his family.
Yeah, absolutely, and our thoughts go out to his family and friends. I certainly enjoyed watching him play. Maybe didn't play as many times as he would have liked, but then again, you're trying to get into a Liverpool side which has Dalglish in it, and even David Fairclough, who played alongside him, was called super sub, but they had so many great players to call on. One of them that actually was there at the time when David Johnson was playing, he played in the reserves as well, was Frank McGarvey. And Frank is my special guest on our one-to-ones. I know it's World Cup time and we are trying to go through as many of the games as possible and bring you our thoughts on the World Cup. But throughout this month we'll be bringing you some special one-to-ones with players past and present, managers past and present, and people who are involved in football. And tomorrow it's a sit down with Frank McGarvey. Now, for certain people who are Celtic and St Mirren fans, and of course Queen of the South, he played for Clyde as well, then Frank McGarvey will be of interest to you. If you're a neutral, or indeed if you're a fan of another football club and you love listening to players talk about their career, it's well worth a listen. And the other added dimension to this is the sad news that Frank is battling against prostate cancer at this moment, and that is a huge battle, the biggest battle that I think he's had in his life, Ruffy.
Yeah, but knowing Frank, he'll do everything in his power. He'll listen to advice, and try and beat it. And let's hope he does.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got his dream team as well, and he gave me the 11 players, the best 11 players that he's played with. Don't hold your breath, Ruffy. Shh, you're not in it. But nevertheless, you can find out his dream team a little later on before we get to Christmas. I'll let you into a secret. It's Packy Bonner and 10 other players, just in case you were a
proper Celtic goalkeeper.
So
bench.
no, you weren't even on the bench, Ruffy. But if you can, join us 4 o'clock tomorrow. It's a 1-to-1 with Frank, and it really is an emotional trip down memory lane with him. Well worth watching. So, what about the quiz question? Did you get the answer right? The quiz question posed to us early on, it was following Spain's 7-0 win. Which team has scored the most goals in a single World Cup match? And the answer was Hungary 10, El Salvador 1. And that was I can't believe you didn't remember that. It was the 82 World Cup.
Well, no, I wouldn't have remembered that.
No.
You played in it?
You played in it?
But not in that game.
No.
If I've lost 10 goals, I'd have remembered.
You'd El Salvador and Hungary 10-1.
El Salvador, Alan Ruffin goal.
Exactly. An incredible game, but certainly Spain thumping Costa Rica was an amazing scoreline. I wish we could have a few more of them, because certainly some of the 0-0s have been drab and boring. Just before you go, remember, you can join it at any stage. It's absolutely free to play. It's a good game of fun. It's Fandex with PLZ Soccer. We've got together. All you have to do is put worldcupfandex.com in there and join in with the stocks and shares on your favourite country that you think will perform well. You can join this at any stage. You don't have to have started in the game at the start of the World Cup. So here's Adam to tell you how you do it.
Come and join PLZ Soccer on Fandex for our FIFA World Cup 2022 stock exchange game. It's absolutely free to play, and you have the chance to win some great cash prizes. You can buy shares in your favourite team and watch their stock price increase or decrease based on their real life World Cup performances against the expected points tally set by Fandex. You can buy and sell as many teams as you like, as often as you like, with winners being announced after every round. The PLZ Soccer family are waiting for you on Fandex. Head to plzsoccer.com and click on Fandex World Cup 2022.
Yeah, great stuff from Adam and our reporters. Adam and Kerry are out there with other reporters who'll be covering the football for us when it resumes domestically. We'll be right across that. If you download the PLZ Soccer app, not only can you watch the programme live on your phone or your tablet or indeed your PC, but you'll get all the latest breaking football news. Our website is up and running. It's easy for you to follow on the website. The shop's there as well. But more importantly, if you hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, you'll get uncensored, unbiased and unmatched coverage and unique footage as well, and it's all absolutely free to watch. How many other places on television, Ruffy, are on 5 days a week and 7 days a week of news coverage as well?
None.
There you have it. It doesn't get any better than that. Ruffy at his absolute best. From Ruffy, from Tam, from myself, Peter Martin. Hit the subscribe button and join us tomorrow if you can. A brilliant 1-to-1 with Frank McGarvey.